Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson. In today's program, we're talking about long COVID. That is when somebody has supposedly recovered from having COVID-19, but for weeks and sometimes even months after, they continue to show a wide range of symptoms, and some of them very serious. We're going to be hearing from a number of people who are dealing with this. We'll hear from a medical expert as well. We just want to remind you, you can tweet along with us. It's TVJ All Angles, and you can WhatsApp us 381-0072. Give us your first name, give us your general location. My guest in this first segment is our colleague from the news center, Dwayne Anderson. Dwayne, thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing with us.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you for the opportunity to, get a chance to, do my part in perhaps, saving a life or two.
Well, look here, because I can say to my viewers that when I saw you a couple months ago, I was like, hadn't seen you for a while, and I said, what happened? You've lost weight. You always were the person who we used to say you wear your shirt them too small because you were so muscular from gym work. You're always bursting out of your clothes. Allow me to tell?
Not at all, Diane.
So what has happened?
And that remark that you made, I've been getting that from a lot of people.
So you lose weight?
Lose weight.
Okay.
I've lost 15 pounds in the last 9 months that I've been battling with long COVID.
No, what was interesting to me is that you say you didn't have a serious case of COVID-19.
No, because, okay, so let me take you back a little bit. So I first contracted COVID, well, I believe I did, in May 2021. I did a COVID test at the time, which is perhaps an indictment on the system here, because when I did that test, it was at a public facility in Maypen, and that test got lost. I never got back a result to say I was positive. However, I couldn't smell or taste a thing for about 2 weeks. So I did as I was told by the medical officials to, quarantine, isolate for my 2 weeks. And then I came out of that and was able to taste and smell again.
And you figured you're good.
I was good. I was great.
But you're not good.
I was feeling good and great. I decided, you know what? 2 weeks isolation. Okay, I'm going to give myself another 2 weeks and, give the body some time to rebuild and strengthen. And then I'll go back to the gym. That 2 weeks after that I went back to the gym, it has been all downhill since that time around the first week of June.
Tell me what you mean.
So I was doing bench press, just going back, I like my gym work. I was doing some bench press. All of a sudden, I cannot breathe. So I start panicking.
You mean you were actually lifting weights at the time?
Lifting weights, the bench press up and down and heavy weights. And all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. So I barely managed to take the weights from off my chest. It didn't actually fall on me, so I put it back up, and then all of a sudden I'm panicking because I'm like, why can't I breathe? Am I going to die? Cold sweat start wash me. So as soon as I got an opportunity and I gathered myself, I just dashed out of the gym, went home, didn't even bathe, just lay down and to try to, gather myself, collect myself, and then immediately got on the phone with some doctor friends to tell them, listen, man, I can't breathe. What is happening?
Okay, so how long did that last?
That episode lasted about 15, 20 minutes, and I was able to, come to, and then I started explaining to them what is happening.
Okay.
And then they told me, all right, you had COVID recently, you may need to come see us or see your doctor.
And when you saw your doctor, what did they say?
Okay, so immediately I explained everything to Dr. Green. Dr. Green immediately got me on some medication, some antibiotics, because I also told him that I was having issues. After the breathing issues, I started having some pain in the chest. So he got me onto some antibiotics. He got me onto some pain medication, some other cough medicine, etc., just to treat the antibiotic and deal with the pain.
But you said it's been downhill from there. So you're saying things got worse?
It got progressively worse. So because of that, I got more doctors involved. Some of my fraternity brothers from university days, I got them involved. And then they started telling me that, listen, we're getting more and more people coming back that are having these issues. We're not sure what it is yet, but they're having these issues. So I started doing my own research, and then I started gathering information and realized that there's this thing called long COVID.
Right.
And then they started telling me, yes, there's this thing called chronic COVID, chronic long COVID, and that is apparently what I have.
No, there are some people who have the symptoms for a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and then gradually get better. But yours...
Okay, so the timeline is from June 2021 until today. I've been having good days, but mostly bad days. And what I mean by that, terrible chest pain, terrible backaches, and sometimes terrible headaches, sometimes short of breath. It's
Walk me
really
through a
bad.
bad day.
A really bad day, I cannot come to work. And those are perhaps the days you don't see me. I cannot get out of bed. I perhaps can only get out of bed enough to go to the bathroom, make some tea, and then go back into bed and work from my laptop at home. That's a bad day because the pain is grueling. A good day is the day that I get an hour or two where I can perhaps drive somewhere, do an errand, do an outside story, get back home before something happens, because this is how I've been learning how my body operates, because that's what it's basically done. It's taught me to respect and listen to your body.
But when you say good day, it doesn't sound as if a good day is a day without any symptoms or any pain.
A good day is a good day is a day where I have limited pain.
Wow.
Thankfully, for the last 5 weeks, I've had perhaps 4 weeks of good days. I started a new treatment with Dr. Winston Dawes, this laser light shock type therapy, which I've only had like 3, really tough days where I can say, yo, this pain is crazy. This pain isn't going away.
I'm going to come back to that other treatment, but let me continue. I want to make sure we get the picture. So you've been dealing with physical pain, as you described, very bad pain, but you also have had mental issues as well, what they call the brain fog, memory issues and so on.
And I perhaps should tell your viewers that if for some reason I happen to go off on a tangent and don't remember some words, that's the brain fog kicking in. Some simple words, we as journalists, we like to think of ourselves as wordsmiths, so we're decent with words.
Yes.
Sometimes some simple words you use in your everyday life, those words elude you. So sometimes I'll be talking to somebody like, you know what I mean? And try and explain the point, because some simple words that you have and you just pick them up and go to make the conversation flow, you can't find the words because it's like your brain isn't clicking to keep up with your mouth when you're speaking.
So when all this has been going on, before you started the recent treatment, were you able to go back to gym?
I went back to gym at least twice. So I went for about 3 weeks and I was doing walking, because one of my frat brother kept telling me, who is a medical doctor, kept telling me, you have to push through. You have to push through. So I went back to the gym. I was doing more cardio stuff, walking, jogging, cycling, and that kind of thing. And I was making progress, but like a ton of bricks, the pain came back. And I'm talking about, if someone can imagine, this is the best way I can explain it. Imagine you're carrying a bag of feeding and for some reason you lose your footing and it fell on your chest. That's how the pain can feel sometimes.
Wow,
like
just sudden and
sudden,
intense.
and there's no way of stopping it. The best way I've found to stop it is lie down. It's almost like your body wants you to not move. It wants you to lay down. That's when it gives you some ease.
You said to me, speaking elsewhere, that there's sometimes you say you almost feel like your structure couldn't.
Oh no, geez! It's almost like the skeletal structure, the rib area, the chest area is almost like it's about to collapse. That's how sometimes it's contracting and tightening because of the pain and the shorter breath. It's almost like the skeletal structure of my chest wants to fall out of my body. That's how tough the pain gets sometimes. Now the weird thing is, and I must say this, the weird thing is, people may be wondering, but why is it doing you so bad? You must be sick. I always pride myself on being, as fit as healthy as a horse. That's what I always tell myself. I'm 30 years old. I have no underlying conditions, no sinusitis that I'm troubled by, no asthma, nothing like that. And all the tests that I've done, they've all come back excellent.
That's all the time you've been having this pain, the shortness of breath. You've done the heart test, you've done the lung test.
I think I've done 2 ECGs, about 2 rounds of blood work, CT scan, MRI, everything you can think about.
And everything seems to say you're fine.
I'm healthy, but I'm not.
But you're not.
I'm not healthy because the only way you can tell that I'm not healthy is the way you do, is when you look at me and say, listen, this guy used to have a lot of muscle.
Right.
And he's now skinny as crazy. And it's not that I'm not eating. I've not lost my appetite. I eat a lot still. But I've just not been able to put on back the muscle mass because I've not been able to go to the gym because I cannot manage the physical work.
How bad does a shortness of breath get?
Oh, that is a success so far. Since this year especially, I've realized that that is not troubling me as much.
When it was troubling you, how bad was it?
I'm talking about panic attacks. At one point, I had to ask my little brother to take me to the doctor, and I really thought that day was it.
Meaning you thought you were dying?
I thought I was dying. He was taking me to medical associates. We were driving through halfway tree, and I dropped back the seat and said, Andre, I feel like this.
What did he say
He started crying.
while driving you?
Yeah, because he's like, yo, you can't dead. You can't dead.
How were you feeling at that time? Well, obviously you're feeling bad, but I mean mentally, emotionally. Here you are, young person.
Yeah, because
Hadn't been sick.
people aren't sick. That's what the literature told us. That's what the medical doctors
Yeah.
told us.
You should be able to get
People
through it.
who are healthy will do better. And the way I've been motivating myself to get through this is to say, you know what? Perhaps it's because I'm so healthy why I've survived 9 months. Because what if I was not?
Okay. How has it affected work?
Oh, I have to give thanks for good management here. Props to them here, especially my news editor. She has been, very supportive. Part of the circle. She understands, Janela. She understands what it is that I'm going through because I keep talking to her. So because of that, she's made a little program for me. Dwayne come in one day when he's good. 2 days is good day, he'll come in. He has another good day, he can go out. But because prior to me getting sick, we were doing the work from home. Right. So we had the material, we had the equipment that we can work from home. So what I do, I stay in bed on the bad days and then I work from my computer, my laptop. I ask the correspondents for their help, send out questions, get material, write my stories, voice the stories, and make it happen.
All right, hold that thought for me. I'm just going to take a break and we come back and we hear a little bit more from Dwayne Anderson. He's talking to us about his experience with long COVID, suffering symptoms months after he had recovered, and I use that word advisedly. We soon come.